Marvel is no stranger to casting actors and directors with horror backgrounds. I thought it'd be fun to look back at some MCU actors and some notable horror roles. Yes, the fact that Mia Goth, who's probably the most famous Scream Queen working right now, was recently cast in the MCU's Blade movie is the main source of inspiration. Starting off with some of the most iconic horror roles ever, we have Sir Anthony Hopkins as Hannibal Lecter in The Silence of the Lambs. Kurt Russell was in John Carpenter's horror classic The Thing. And depending on how you look at it, Robert Downey Jr. and Mark Ruffalo were both in Zodiac. Some people might look at it as a crime thriller. I think of it more as a horror thriller, but it fits. Sam Jackson's been in a lot of movies. Motherfuck! But I'm gonna go with Room 1408. Lupita Nyong'o in Us, which I still think is a travesty that she didn't even at least get an Oscar nomination. She was magnificent in both roles. Michael Rooker in Henry, A Portrait of a Serial Killer is another phenomenal role, and this was his first feature film debut. Insane. As funny as Paul Rudd is, he was in the Halloween franchise. Early on in her career, Elizabeth Olsen was in an indie film called Silent House. Love me some indie horror. We're pulling double duty in the remake to When a Stranger Calls. Tessa Thompson plays the lead's best friend, and Clark Gregg plays the lead's dad. Brian Tyree Henry was in the Child's Play remake. Salma Hayek was in The Faculty. This might be cheating, but Chris Hemsworth played the jock in Cabin in the Woods, which is more of a horror comedy. I completely forgot that Idris Elba and Jeremy Renner were both in 28 Weeks Later, which is a banger, by the way. Tom Hiddleston starred in Guillermo del Toro's Crimson Peak. Creepy. I don't know about you, but I would consider Scarlett Johansson's Under the Skin a horror film. Her Black Widow co-star Florence Pugh was obviously in Midsommar, Ari Aster's horror classic. I just realized this one, but Yahya Abdul-Mateen is going to be playing Wonder Man in the MCU, and he starred in the Candyman horror requel from director Nia DaCosta, who's going to be directing the Marvels in the MCU. We've had Sam Raimi direct Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, a legend in the horror genre. Scott Derrickson directed Doctor Strange, and we can't forget James Gunn's horror background. For some odd reason, horror just works in the comic book genre.